What if I told you that one American muscle car was so fast, so dominant, that it literally forced NASCAR to rewrite the rulebook? Today we're going to be discussing the Hot Wheels 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. Let's go ahead and open it up and check this car out. First we'll show you the card there. Pretty cool artwork on the card. They did a great job as usual with that. Love the colors. Now let's check it out here. All right. There it is. Get a good look at that. That is a cool car. Very cool. They did a great job on the nose, the graphics. All right. We'll dig in here now. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Troy, and we like to celebrate legendary cars and the stories behind them. Today we're looking at the Dodge Charger Daytona, the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. This is the Hot Wheels version of it. I've done some research and digging into what this car is all about, so let me share with you here what I've come up with today. So to understand the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, you have to go back to the late 1960s, when NASCAR wasn't just racing, it was an all-out aerodynamic arms race. At the time, Dodge and Plymouth were struggling on high-speed oval tracks. The standard Charger looked aggressive, but at speeds over 180 miles per hour, it created too much aerodynamic drag and lift. Ford was winning, and Chrysler engineers knew something drastic had to change. So Dodge did something almost unthinkable. They stopped asking what looked good and started asking what would win. The result was the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. Engineers reshaped the nose into a pointed aerodynamic cone to cut through the air. At the rear, they mounted a massive wing, nearly 2 feet tall, not for style, but so it could sit in clean air above the car's turbulent wake. The fun fact is that wing was so tall that the trunk could still be open normally underneath it. This wasn't design flair, this was science. Under the hood, the Charger Daytona could be ordered with several engines, but the most legendary was the 426 cubic inch HEMI V8. From the factory, the HEMI was officially rated at 425 horsepower, though most enthusiasts agree it made considerably more. Even the standard 440 Magnum V8 delivered brutal performance. In race trim, these cars were capable of exceeding 200 miles per hour. And in 1970, a Daytona became the first NASCAR stock car to officially break the 200 miles per hour barrier. That moment changed racing forever. When these cars were new, the Dodge Charger Daytona in 1969, the base price was around $3,800, with options quickly pushing it higher. That price was expensive for the time, and it's one of the reasons Dodge only built approximately 503 Daytonas, just enough to satisfy NASCAR's homologation rules. Low production then means extreme rarity now. Here's something a lot of people don't realize. When the Charger Daytona was new in 1969, many buyers didn't want it. Dealers struggled to sell them, some sat on lots, a few even had their massive rear wings removed just to make the cars easier to move. They were too extreme, too different, too ahead of their time. But history has a way of correcting itself. As enthusiasts began to understand what these cars represented, a no-compromise factory race car built for the street, the Charger Daytona's reputation transformed. What was once misunderstood became legendary. And I totally get that talk of the nose and everything. I remember as a kid seeing pictures of these cars and even seeing them at car shows and stuff, and I thought they were kind of ridiculous looking. So as a kid, I didn't get it. And then over time, of course, it grew on me, and now I think it's an awesome car, and I can't imagine ever wanting to change that appearance. But yeah, I remember personally not thinking that was the coolest looking car. One thing I did learn, which is interesting, when I was diving in to find some of these cars that had sold recently, is they apparently only had to build 500 of the Dodge Charger Daytonas for the homologation rules to compete in NASCAR. But the next year, when the Plymouth Superbird was built, apparently they changed the rules and they had to build 2,000 cars, or almost 2,000. So there were almost 2,000 of the Plymouth Superbirds built, but only 503 of the Dodge Chargers. So they're a lot more rare, the Dodge Chargers, and I could only find one that it actually sold on Bring a Trailer. So very interesting. There's tons of the Superbirds that have sold on Bring a Trailer, but only one I could find of the Dodge Charger Daytona. So the Dodge Charger Daytona and its Plymouth Superbird sibling were so dominant that NASCAR eventually stepped in and changed the rules. The winged cars were effectively legislated out of top-level competition, ending the factory aero wars almost overnight. That decision froze the Daytona in time. It became a snapshot of an era when manufacturers were willing to build anything, no matter how outrageous, as long as it won. Today, the Charger Daytona is one of the most valuable muscle cars ever built. On Bring a Trailer, original and correctly restored Dodge Charger Daytonas sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in other places, for 426 HEMI cars, they've reached well over $1 million, depending on originality, documentation, and condition. What was once strange is now priceless, and I agree with that. I think they're an amazing car. One interesting thing about this car too, just to give you a little bit of personal information, my daughter Paisley, her middle name is Daytona, and that was heavily influenced by this car and by the Daytona International Speedway, the racetrack. So anyway, I'll show you a couple pictures here of this one that sold on Bring a Trailer, and then we'll finish up this video. Now this is the only one that I could find on Bring a Trailer that had sold on that platform. This is the 1969 Charger Daytona, sold for $260,000 back in June. And yeah, there's a rear view shot of it. This one has 77,000 miles on it, 3-speed automatic transmission. There's the side view of it. Interior shot. And another interior. There's the engine. This was the 440, rated at 375 horsepower. And that's it. That's all I've got on this one here particularly. Once again, here's the Dodge Charger Daytona, the Hot Wheels version of it. They did an amazing job on this car with the graphics, everything. They just really did a good job. It's so amazing that you can buy a car like this for $1.25. I am so impressed with the fact that these are so easy to collect. So anyway, if you guys have anything that you'd like to add to this story, let me know. If you know anything about the Dodge Charger Daytona or you have any history of it. As always, remember, cars like this are meant to be seen. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.